All right, thank you so much for joining us. It's still Journalist Hangout, and right about now we have Majid right here with us. Majid, so good to have you here. So let's move straight to our next conversation. The stability of Nigeria's telecom sector is now hanging on a delicate balance between demands by industry operators and organized labor. The telecom operators have rejected the mass action called by the Nigerian Labour Congress NLC over 50% hike in tariff. According to the Chief Executive Officer of the Association of Licensed Telecom Operators in Nigeria, Gbenga Adebayo, the proposed strike slated for the 4th of February could worsen the problems in the sector. He stressed the need for NLC not to be the undertaker of a dead sector. BK, let's start this way. Telcos saying that the hike is necessary to improve infrastructure and also to prevent an imminent collapse of the sector. Talk to me. Are those reasons valid enough?
Yes.
Yes.
Very valid, yes. Especially if they've not increased tariff in 10 years. I think they have a point. They have a point. Government has a responsibility to slow down the rate of inflation, but you cannot tell people not to jack up prices in response to inflation. Actually, every sector has responded to the devaluation of the naira, to inflation in many ways.
True.
Even government businesses, they are raising their rates. So there's no way we can validly tell the telcos not to hike tariff after 10 years. Because, look, things have changed between 2014 and now.
A lot has happened.
In terms of the costs of doing business in our country, a lot has changed. You have to tell ourselves the truth. It doesn't matter what people say. Some of us are already used to people banging their heads on the wall over nothing. We cannot watch NNPC and oil majors increasing prices of petroleum products in response to removal of subsidy. That inevitably leads to the kind of ripple effects that you do not want to experience across the board in the economy. So there's no way that the telcos would continue to achieve profitability if you are not allowing them to charge cost-reflective rates.
Cost-reflective, okay.
You've seen even in the power sector, we've seen the changes, the increased rates. Where have we not seen an increase in rate? Where? Is it food? So at some point, they will have to increase rates. So the issue is whether 50% is the ideal threshold. I'm happy that the National Assembly is engaging NLC, engaging the telcos. Nobody wants a strike, especially on this kind of matter.
Okay. All right, Majid, the telcos, they've argued that the NLC did not consult wide enough, before threatening for a strike. But should the NLC direct its energy at the government instead of the telcos?
That's why I have a problem with Joe Ajero at times. The kind of battles he picks them wrongly. If an NLC member's girlfriend is snatched by probably GD or something, might say they should come and picket TVC.
No, you won't do that. You won't do that. So you won't do that. You will report me to my wife.
So because now you can't be crying more than the bereaved. The telco workers are saying we are okay with this. Telco workers, that is, I mean, is fighting for Nigeria, but they are saying we are operating in this industry. We know what is happening. You should have consulted us before going to call on a strike. Because look at it. These telecom operators, they also operate in the same economy we are. Like Jide said, 10 years, the last time they increased tariff was 10 years ago. I'm not advocating for them, but they have only increased by 50%. What was the percentage increase in electricity bills? Almost over 200. Almost 300%. Now, 10 years ago, 70% of the operations of the telcos are dollar denominated. True. More than 70%. So now, 10 years ago, FX exchange rate was like 350 naira to a dollar. Today it's hovering at about 1,500.
It was about 216.
It was even, yeah, it was even up to that. So that is number one. That's the number one factor. Well, you want to say they don't buy equipment, but then they upgrade. I think it's,
one of the biggest drains on their finances is diesel.
Yeah,
everywhere, because you cannot rely on public electricity supply.
Yeah. To power their base stations.
For their base stations, they must put, in fact, 2 generators in some cases.
Yeah.
So that if this one
goes on, there's another.
Yes. I have someone who guards a base station.
And people go there
constantly buying.
Exactly.
They even go to
what is the cost of diesel now?
10 years ago.
2014.
So that is another one. And number 3 is the fact that they are also operating in the same markets that we are operating in. So now, I know that MTN and Airtel and Nine Mobile, at the point they were cohabiting. I mean, they share the same base. It's only Glo that is running its own on its own. Now, they have some operators like Huawei and that takes care of this facility for them. They are changing some of the base stations now to solar. And this is a project they are doing just about 30%. It's costing about 20 billion naira.
Okay. All right. Majid, we need to go on this quick break. And when we return, the conversation continues. Don't go anywhere. Still Journalist Hangout. If you just joined us, it's still Journalist Hangout. I still have Majid Jami around here and BK. So, BK, talking about this issue of telcos. Now, the NLC proposed 5% instead of the 50% approved by the NCC. Is this feasible?
You know, you say 5%.
Yeah, they're proposing.
For a sector where there has not been
an increase
in tariff for 10 years. You know, it's not reasonable now. Yes, I appreciate Ajero and his colleagues. It's difficult to do the job he's doing at this time because you have to fight almost every day. And workers expect the best. Workers expect the best. But this sector also needs to survive. If we are not careful, the poor services that we are talking about will get worse. If they cannot replace parts, if they cannot bring in equipment, if they have to cut corners.
They might even have to downsize.
Yes. I know that there has to be an increase. But if you ask me, I was thinking maybe 30%. I know that, but I also know that because tariff hike is not something that you do regularly. So in going for 50%, the regulator must have, in agreeing to 50%, the regulator must have felt, oh, before we see another tariff hike, it will take a long time. So they had to settle for that kind of middle ground, which is 50%. I don't think that 5% is realistic, and I just think that the strike is unnecessary. Strike should always be the last option, but even the fidelity of strikes has been badly eroded under the current leadership of the NLC. Anything that happens, you are thinking of right.
The NLC is saying survival of Nigerians or the survival of telcos. Where do we strike the balance?
They cannot survive if virtually everything has gone up and you are saying they should not increase rates. I know that it may sound unpopular, but reasonable Nigerians know that, okay, why are we not doing the same thing to the airlines?
Okay.
Why are we not doing the same thing to the airlines? 2 years ago, you could pay 17,000 to move from Abuja to Lagos. Just 17,000. Try it today.
Right now, it's...
Try it today. I just returned from Abuja on Friday, and I paid 155,000 for a one-way.
Just for a one-way
trip. No, even if you were going to Ghana, but traveling outside Nigeria, in the past, you will not pay anything close to that. Because how far is Ghana? Ghana, I think, should be like 40 minutes or so.
Same distance,
yes.
almost same distance.
Almost like going to Abuja.
Yeah.
I think it's around 40 minutes or 45, I can't remember.
Because of international charges, you know.
But look at, if we are not telling, of course they have regulators in the aviation sector too. If we are not telling them not to charge the kind of cutthroat charges, make cutthroat charges, why are we saying telcos should not do it?
Okay, all right.
That's my view.
Majid, let's talk incentives now from the government. What kind of incentives, the government should come up with to reduce the burden of the telecoms operators?
The telcos they're in business to survive, and the kind of incentives government can give them is probably to grant them waivers on what they import.
Maybe some of what they
import. Some of what they import. Because to clear a 20-feet container now, like I said earlier, most of their equipment are dollar-based. They are imported. To clear a 20-feet container now is between 15 and 25 million. Now that's apart from cost of freight, clearing alone.
Just clearing?
Clearing alone. All these charges go on, and before now, and most of their equipment, they are not equipment that you use ordinary container to carry.
Exactly.
They use what you call dangerous good containers, DGC.
For delicate materials.
For delicate materials. So because most of their equipment have lithium battery, you can't use ordinary container to carry it. So they are surcharged extra. So if government can give them a relief in this area, probably they can pass that to government. Even at that, operating costs here, they have diesel costs, they have electricity costs, they also have FX, foreign exchange to deal with. So it's, in fact, we should even be grateful that they have agreed to do just 50%. Is it 50% that we are paying on airfares?
No, not at all.
Is it 50% that we are paying on electricity?
Not at all.
Even petroleum products.
Subsidy remover.
Yes, subsidy remover.
Is it 50%?
Is it 50%? So Ajero should be reasonable, quote and unquote.
You think it's fighting a losing battle?
Be reasonable with the kind of battles it takes on. Honestly.
All right, gentlemen, it's a fine place for us to leave it. Let's move straight to our next conversation.